Hey, Dad.
What's up?
I want to apologize for my outburst last week.
Yeah, whatever. It's
Com-
all water under the bridge.
I appreciate that. I just, I I overreacted a little bit, and I can understand why you, wouldn't want to rub topical cream on my balls for me.
Listen, don't start.
I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm just. I'm just.
I'm gonna hang up on you. I don't want to hear about it.
I'm just saying the facts. I've been taking care of it on my own, and they're feeling as good as they can be, considering, I shaved them with a dull razor because I didn't have my Manscaped stuff. How are you feeling?
Old.
How old are you? 69.
See, there you go again.
I can't remember your age.
Come on, Greg. I'm not fucking stupid. I know what 69 means.
What does it mean?
Do you want me to hang up now, or are you gonna carry on a conversation that's normal, or forget about it?
I can have a normal conversation. That's fine. I wanted to tell you that actually I emailed Manscaped because of my incident with the razor, and I got some good news. They said because they feel so sorry for me and for my stupidity for forgetting my Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 that they're going to send me a...
Why the fuck do you keep bringing this shit up? Because I really don't want to hear about it.
I just, I have a national, a worldwide advertiser sponsoring me, and
It's fine. Good for you.
but-
I don't want to hear about it.
but it means a lot to me. So like
I don't want to hear about it. Well, tell somebody else.
I
I
fig-
don't want to hear about
but
it.
if it's something that makes me happy and I'm proud of, why can't you be
Well,
proud
good.
with me?
That's nice. I'm glad for you, but I don't want to hear about it.
I'm not saying anything in graphic detail. I'm just telling you that they're sending me their Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, which comes with the
Whatever.
Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer,
See, there you go.
the Performance Package, which inside includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, which is going to make it smell fresh down there, the Crop Reviver toner, the Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. I mean, that's pretty exciting, right?
What did I just say? I
I'm-
don't want to hear about it. I'm glad for you that you got a sponsor. I don't want to hear about the shit.
But I'm not, why don't you care about it? It's got 7,000 RPM
Yeah,
motor,
whatever.
a new multifunction on and off switch, which can engage a travel lock and gives you the ability to turn that 4000K LED spotlight on and off when you need it for a more precise shave. I mean,
Good for
what's
you.
there to hate about this? And did I mention it's waterproof, Dad? Come
I don't wanna hear
on,
about
waterproof. You could take that bad boy in the shower. You could drop it in the toilet after, you drop a big old watery deuce, and it'll still be good to go. I mean, you have to wash it off if you get the poop matter all over it, but, it'll be good.
I don't want to hear about
But
it.
they're also sending me my...
Bye.
No,
Bye.
don't, Dad, please talk to me, please.
Fucking hang up and shut up about that crap.
Okay. I'm just saying they're thinking about making me
I don't
like
care.
the face of their product because of what I did to my testicles.
It's not my problem.
It's not a problem, but just think though, man.
I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, that's fine. Can't you just say you're proud of me?
Sometimes I wonder, because some of the stupid shit you come up with.
Like what?
Oh, come on, Greg. You know damn well what I'm talking about.
I don't say anything stupid. I try to have normal conversations with you, and you always
No,
try
you
to make
don't.
it weird.
No, you don't. It's all weird conversations.
Like what?
You know what, and I don't have to explain anymore.
I haven't done anything weird. I tell you what, though, I haven't showed my girlfriend my testicles because it looks really bad.
See? There you go again. I really don't care about your nuts.
Why?
See, you think everything is fucking funny. I don't.
No, I don't. I just like...
Then why are you laughing?
This was a horrific thing that I'm trying to battle through using a dull razor.
That's not my problem. You were the idiot that did it.
And now I have testicles that look like Frankenstein's face. And
Whatever, man. Good for you.
that's not a good...
You got Frankenstein balls.
It's not good for me, Dad. That's why I care so much about Manscaped. God, man.
Great.
What?
I don't want to fucking hear about it. Can't you get that through your fucking head? I don't care about Manscaped. I don't want to hear about Manscaped. I don't want to hear about your balls. You understand?
I guess.
Do you understand? Yes or no?
Just, they're...
Yes or no? You think everything's fucking funny. I don't. Some of the shit you come up with is stupid.
I don't think it's funny. It's like,
Well, why are you laughing then?
It's just because I'm trying to, again, I'm holding back tears, Dad, because...
Oh my ass, you're holding back tears. You're holding back chuckles.
Dad.
Greg.
I'm just trying to build a relationship with you.
That's not the way to do it.
Do you have a better idea?
Yeah, a regular conversation about something else besides your balls and Manscaped.
Okay.
But you have nothing else in common to talk about.
Well, what are you doing?
Can't think of nothing, can you?
What are you doing tomorrow?
Anything else?
Well, maybe I can stop by. Maybe we can, go out and play catch, throw the ball around a little bit.
See? You know what? You're not fooling me any because you're still being stupid.
I slipped up. Sorry.
Oh, no. That's all you think about. Oh, let's go outside and play with the balls, huh? Uh-huh. What was that?
I said ball.
Mm-mm.
It's like it's.
I ain't deaf yet.
Why do you have testicles on the brain? I mean, I know I talked about Manscaped, but...
There you go again. You're the one that said it, not me.
I'm just... I might have slipped. I don't remember.
It's called a short span of fucking memory.
Well, listen, if you don't want to play catch, maybe I can come over and we can take out the lawnmower 4.0 and mow the lawn. I mean, just lawnmower. I'm sorry. No, Dad, come on. I love you. To get your Lawnmower 4.0 performance package, go to manscaped.com, use promo code PARDON, and you'll save 20% and get free shipping. It's a great way to support the podcast, and it's an even better way to piss off my dad. And now, on to the show.
Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. This is episode 108. Feeling great. Our guest is the Southern Flamingo, Kody Lane. If you recall, Kody Lane was on one of the original episodes back at the beginning of Iron on Wrestling. I believe it was episode 6. He's back again, and he's sort of evolved and changed his character over the last year and a half. What's new with Kody Lane? We find out today on the show. And, I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. I think I'm going to be interrupted shortly here. Not sure why there's elevator music playing, but we'll go with it. Can you push the button for 4, please? Thank you.
Darling,
Not sure why there was a water splash, but okay.
Pardon the interruption. Oh, you put me in a bad position when you told me I could no longer use copyrighted music.
Wow.
Now I'm just typing in uncopyrighted music to annoy Greg too. And, well, that was the first one that came in.
that was very specific. Wow.
There's a whole playlist. Somebody out there doesn't like you.
Yeah, I guess.
But I'm excited about today's episode.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Cody really did a bang-up job last week when he made a call posing as a doctor from San Antonio.
I believe his name was Dr. Mixon Simmons. He started.
Yeah, he was using my shoot last name for some reason.
It was Mick Simmons.
Yeah. Mick is his first name.
Yeah. No, his first name was something.
Something for Emily?
I mean, like it was something, I don't remember what it was, but all I know is he created the beginning of what might possibly be the best Called My Dad in the history of the show. Was it
that was
not?
a good one.
I mean,
I really like the one where the first one where we pranked him, but the second one was wait, what was the other one I really liked? Oh, when you try to give that shit to him for his birthday, your used one,
Yeah.
and you were chasing him down the driveway to the dumpster.
I love how he still thinks that I hid the Manscaped 3.0 somewhere in his room. I just imagine he goes to sleep every night, and as he's starting to doze off, he thinks to himself, where the fuck is that Manscaped ball trimmer thing?
You know
I need
he's
to
checking
find
under
it.
his pillow.
Yeah, well, he's never going to find it because it's not there, but I like to make him think that, that thing is haunting him somewhere in that room. How are you? How was your weekend?
Yeah, all right. Good deal, man.
How was
Nice
your Father's Day?
Father's Day was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Father's Day weekend. Let's just say it was Father's Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably appreciate this. The boys all pitched in and bought me and my father melt.
I do appreciate that. I saw your post about it, and I got real pumped.
Yeah. It was good, man. I got the Cleveland cheesesteak, some kind of sweet aioli with grilled
Sweet aioli?
onions and
What?
some ribeye steak and provolone cheese, all in between 2 slices of bread that were grilled cheese at some point, and then just got totally amped up.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also had melt on Saturday.
Yeah. So did Troy.
Troy who?
Do you remember Troy? Troy, we're all gonna die.
Okay, yeah, from the good old
Workshop.
Murray Ridge Center, yes.
So a lot of people had some melt this weekend. I think it was a good idea. It seems like their business was up, and maybe we should discuss some kind of a little partnership with
That
them.
would be great. I do know there was a 30-minute wait over at the Avon location. when I was
Yes.
there. I went there with my girlfriend and her sister, and I got the peanut butter burger.
Yep, I was just telling them that today. That peanut butter bacon burger is
Yeah.
where it's at.
So
I was hesitant to try it first. You made me jump into the water, and it was a pool filled with peanut butter, crunchy, homemade, delicious peanut butter, creamy too as well.
Very creamy.
And their bacon is superb.
Chef's kiss to that one. But what else did your kids do for you for Father's Day?
Here might be the best part. They went down to a friend's house and swam for 4 hours.
Oh, so they left you alone.
Yeah.
What a great gift.
Yeah, got to watch the Indians game and stuff like that. So, watched a lot of sports. I just had a nice day. Nice couple days there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and my oldest, he instead of like a card, he just wrote like a full page, like just letter to me about how appreciative he is for the things that I have been able to do for him and the time that I spend with him.
Wow.
And teaching him how to play baseball, things like that. So very nice, very heartfelt, and something that'll bring a tear to my eye.
That's very kind. Yeah, I like that.
Sure.
I've never been able to write a letter to my dad like that because as a child, he never wanted to play ball with me, which is why in the intro when I called him, I offered to play ball with him, but he wasn't a fan of that for some reason. I don't know why. Just gets very angry all the time.
Well, anytime anybody asks me if I want to play ball, I just think of that scene from that Rocky movie we went and watched.
I knew that.
What was that? Creed?
Creed
2? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've never seen Creed 2, towards the end, which this doesn't really spoil anything important, but Rocky sees his grandson, and it's been a while since he's seen him, and he says to the kid, "Want to play some catch? Here you go." And he throws him a ball, but then walks away. So that's not, that isn't how you play catch. And I remember we were in the theater watching it, and we just started cracking up laughing because it was supposed to be this sweet, heartfelt moment, but
he was finally going to play ball with his grandson, whom he had yet to meet or something like that.
Right, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just not how you play catch.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball once
not
and then
once.
walking away. Yeah, that's not how that works.
Here, that's catch. I threw it. You catched it.
Yeah. Good movie, though,
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
But just that scene was very laughable. But, the show today isn't going to be laughable. And something else that isn't laughable, I want to bring this up. We can't thank the supporters over on Patreon enough. Patreon.com/IronOnWrestling, where we're creating bonus content, bonus videos, extended episodes of the podcast on a weekly basis. We appreciate all your support. But today, as we record this, it was a monumental moment in the history of Iron on Wrestling. And you know why, Aaron?
Oh, yes, I do.
We got our 69th patron subscriber. Jack Anderson, we love you, and we appreciate you signing up for the $5 tier. You put us over the top, and we are officially at the perfect 69. I mean, we would love to get more Patreon subscribers, so don't hesitate to sign up at patreon.com/IronOnWrestling.
But that's been a, well, I think I posted. That's your boyhood dream.
Yeah.
Came to fruition.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah.
Very happy about this, and like to also add that we had a great Zoom call this weekend.
Hey, hold on. Jack Anderson, I got to tell you, I've always been inspired by your family.
Wait, you know Jack?
No.
Wait, you don't? Okay.
No. I have a tattoo on my arm that says Arn, and apparently that's probably his uncle.
Okay.
And Ole, we hear a lot about Ole and fun stories about him. Ric Flair's a cousin. So, congratulations, Jack.
I can't confirm this, but Anderson is a pretty common last name. I don't think he's a direct relative of Arn, but also Arn Anderson is not his real name. So,
What about, I know you're a big baseball guy.
Mm-hmm.
In the 80s, the Indians had a catcher. His name was Andy Allenson.
That's not the same name.
So there's probably something, and they're all in sports.
No.
Good deal there, huh?
We had a great Zoom call this weekend. Anybody that's at the $5 tier or up gets to be involved in the Zoom call, and it's always a good time. We talked a little bit before Hell in a Cell went on the air, and we all know that we don't talk current product on the regular version of the podcast, but we do that on Patreon. So right now, exclusively for Patreon, we're going to talk about our thoughts on Hell in a Cell. So if you'd like to hear that, sign up over on Patreon starting at $3. Patreon.com/IronOnWrestling. Who knows how long we're going to talk. And so that was our Hell in a Cell review for Patreon. So if you'd like to hear that, we went like an extra 20-ish minutes. We sort of got off into tangents. All you got to do is go.
We only went 20 minutes because that's kind of all I saw of Hell in a Cell.
Well,
20 minutes.
Way to sell them on the Patreon, Aaron.
Well,
Patreon.com.
Do you want to find out why I only went 20 minutes instead of going all night long?
Because you have no stamina
Well,
and you can't get it up anymore? We're talking about the pay-per-view. I'm sorry.
We should talk to somebody about that. Is there a product out there that could help somebody maybe stay up to watch the pay-per-view?
No product that's paying us. So
right. So let's maybe find one if there's one out there.
Well, if it exists, we could try to find it.
Okay.
So, but go to patreon.com/IronOnWrestling. where you get a buttload of bonus content starting at just $3, and you get a follow back on social media from myself and Aaron. And of course, not only do you get the bonus episodes, the extended episodes, the episodes come out a day early, but also we put up videos as well. Just in the last few days, we put up a rare house show from Smoky Mountain Wrestling back in the year of 1995, 5/19/1995, the Volunteer Slam. We also put up a super rare Owen Hart A&E biography with all the popularity of the current A&E biographies based on WWE wrestlers. I found an Owen Hart one in my DVD collection, so I uploaded that. You can watch that exclusively over on patreon.com/IronOnWrestling. I put up some rare Warhorse pics from, obviously, Warhorse, who sent them over to me. He was one of the most popular episodes that we've had in a while, which was uploaded last week. So go back and check out the episode with Warhorse. If you haven't, check out the extended episode on Patreon. Of course, there's the $3 tier, the $5 tier, where you get involved in the Zoom call, which we'll be doing in the month of July at some point. We'll let you know about that. $9 tier and up, you can pick a bonus podcast subject, which is the most popular tier over on Patreon. Get involved. It's interactive, and it's a great wrestling community. Patreon.com/IronOnWrestling. But now we're going to get back to the regular episode here.
Hey.
What?
You talked about Owen Hart.
Yeah.
I always thought Owen would have been a good name for you for wrestling.
Why is that?
And then your last name would have been like 100. Because that's your record. You're Owen 100.
Okay. All right. That was very creative and funny. Ha, 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 ha.
Come on, give me a little something there.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll find me somebody who will.
All right. Well, maybe our special guest here in the intro will help us out here. I want to, before I introduce our special guest, I want to talk about, because we have Kody Lane on the show and he's doing the Southern Flamingo gimmick. I thought Southern, who's someone that we can relate to that is a little bit Southern, maybe pretty popular wrestler, someone that changed the landscape of professional wrestling. And I got to thinking, as this episode airs today, June 23rd, it has been 25 years since Austin 316 said, "I just whipped your ass" at the King of the Ring.
Oh, my.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Do you remember where you were?
Not watching the pay-per-view.
Yeah, of course.
I wish I would have been watching it live.
You're not really a fan.
That's not true. I didn't have cable, you asshole.
Cable?
Yeah, I
it was
didn't
on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I didn't have cable to watch the pay-per-view.
Oh, you couldn't go to, like, a local eating establishment and watch it?
I was 10 years old.
Okay. So you didn't eat when you were 10?
You're a fucking dickhead. But Austin 316 was 25 years ago, and I feel like that promo brought in new fans and sort of shaped the way wrestling would turn out in the decade to come. So I got to thinking, why don't we talk about moments in wrestling that sort of shaped and changed the landscape of professional wrestling for the better, and maybe perhaps for the worst if we can think of some of those too. But I want to talk about the positive first. Austin 316 changed wrestling. I want to talk about that, but we need some help with this subject, and so I've got my good, long-time personal friend, your friend too, Aaron. Ladies and gentlemen, he was once a big bear, and now he's simply a bachelor. Benjamin Boone.
What, he's here?
Yeah, you're looking at him.
Oh.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I'm here in the Broken Hand Ranch, finally.
Oh, okay, wow. How long were we waiting for that one?
That's had to be 2 years, right?
Something like
he
that.
He had it sitting right there in the back of his mind. I'm going to use this. I'm pulling right out of my pocket right off the bat.
Real proud of himself. Ben, thanks for stopping over.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Yeah, how's everything?
Everything's going great. And how about for you and Aaron?
We're doing well.
Okay.
Things are terrible. But thanks.
Terrible?
Thanks for bringing it up.
Do you need a hug? Do you need a rose?
Oh, that's what I've been waiting for.
Okay.
I kept thinking the way we could do this was Greg and I compete for a rose this whole podcast with you, and then only one of us gets it at the end.
Okay. I like that game.
Yeah.
You know,
I like the things that you like.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That's good to know. You know, you are in the running for that Owen 100 joke, so.
Okay. Anyways, so moments that shaped and changed professional wrestling. Ben, I forget, when did you start watching wrestling exactly?
1998, April 1998. It was right after WrestleMania 14. I was flipping through the channels and came across Superstars, and and I know it was right after WrestleMania because Kane and Undertaker were still in the midst of their feud. They had a lightning battle on Raw, the one where like part of the stage was hit by lightning, and then the camera guy was lit on fire.
Yes.
That hooked me because I'd never had seen anything like that before.
So how old were you then?
I was 12.
Okay. Yeah, okay. If I would have saw that, I probably would have been hooked too as a 12-year-old.
But as a 40, how old were you at the point?
But as a 22-year-old,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was way past that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you didn't think that was cool? Because I thought it was cool.
I didn't think it was that cool. But always Kane and Undertaker, those are two imposing figures.
Two imposing figures and how they looked as well, especially Kane.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Kane to me was like a Jason Voorhees, a Michael Myers come to life.
Well, and also, I know you very well, I like to think. And you were always a big fan of Mortal Kombat. And I feel like someone like Kane, the way he looks, is like, it's just like a Mortal Kombat character come to life,
Oh, absolutely. Like a scorpion or something like that. Like, absolutely, came to life, and that's what hooked me. And then as I watched the show a little bit further, and I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin, it might have been that same Raw where him and Dude Love were in the midst of their
They
feud.
were on the build to No Way Out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Over the Edge.
Over the Edge.
Or
That's
over
what
the
it was.
edge.
Yep.
Over the edge. Yep. That was enough for me to not only finish the episode, but it's like I have to watch Monday now.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
watch the next day.
Yeah.
Now, see, he came and wrestled in Lorraine, just like 5 minutes from my house.
Oh,
Less than
yeah.
5 minutes. He was just doing some indie show the day before that pay-per-view was in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, Over the Edge.
Over the Edge?
was,
Okay, yeah.
Because
So-
this might have been the build-up to Unforgiven, but let's talk about the Over the Edge thing, because they worked 2 back-to-back pay-per-views.
Okay, well, I just remember Foley coming in. He came in as Dude Love to this indie event, and he grabbed the mic and he said that he just wanted everybody to know that this was their last chance to see Dude Love without the WWE Championship.
Oh, man.
And people went bananas because they were thinking... I'm sorry, I screwed that one up. People went banana because
There you go.
they were definitely thinking, oh, he said something he shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually going to win the title tomorrow. And I started thinking, oh, man, I'm going to witness history.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? The night before a pay-per-view,
Yeah.
a guy that's in the main event did an independent show hundreds of miles away. I mean, you cannot do that today. That's
But it also is one of those things where...
And it was booked by Kevin Sullivan, from what I understand.
really.
Yeah, Kevin Sullivan did a lot of that stuff. See,
Yeah.
I'm finding this stuff out like as we've been doing the podcast for the last couple of years and like watching all of Hank Hudson's posts on Facebook because he's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to random ass independent wrestling shows. I thought that when wrestlers in the past 5-ish years were like doing indies occasionally, I thought that like, oh wow, like this is like a new thing. And then I realized that it happened far more often than I knew of when we were younger. Like we put up one of those rare events over on Patreon. I think back in October around Halloween, I found a rare NWA Florida show from October of 1994. And in the main event was Brutus Beefcake, but as the Butcher. And so he had just turned on Hulk Hogan at Halloween Havoc. And he's on the verge of being in the main event of Starrcade in just a month and a half. But here he is doing a fucking indie show against, like, I forget who he wrestled, like Doink the Clown or something. Like, what? Why is this a thing?
Speaking of random independent appearances, probably the most WTF one ever was when Vince McMahon was at an independent show that was run by John Cena Sr.
Dad, yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Are you
yeah,
serious?
No.
Yeah.
I can't believe you don't know this.
No.
Of all things, yeah, because it was the main event, Brian Milanis of Ring of Honor, and I don't remember who else, but yeah, like the referee was down, and here comes Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
What?
For the
What
same,
year
and
was
then here
this?
comes John Cena to give the FU, now the AA,
Yeah.
to Vince in the ring. Yeah, it's absolutely, like, it's mind-blowing.
My mind is blown. Like, I obviously saw the USWA stuff back in '93 because, as I've talked about on the show, I love USWA, and I've always liked that idea that, like we sort of alluded to on Patreon before talking about OVW, that the stuff was happening in USWA where WWF characters were bad guys in this little territory, but I don't know it exists, so, like, when I start seeing it as I get older, that this was a thing in '93 and Vince was a heel in '93 before he was even on television as a heel. It's just weird that thing that happened.
But it also gives a good glimpse into what the Mr. McMahon character would become.
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
he was polishing up, getting
Absolutely.
ready for his
Absolutely.
big heel run.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you walk out as heel Mr. McMahon in USWA. Who was this guy, Savage?
Savage, but Tatanka was the main guy. Actually.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
ended up becoming the USWA champion.
Right.
Again,
because
heel
I don't think you were
Tatanka.
going to do Savage as the champ, though.
No,
So he goes, let me get one of my mid-level guys.
right.
But, yeah, if you walk out and you get the mega heat that he got, right away you're like, nope, I don't need to be sold anymore.
Yeah,
I'm definitely doing this heel run.
100%.
And, man, what a run it was.
Well, I love how we get off on tangents here, but we're supposed to be talking about things that sucked us in and brought us into wrestling and changed the course of wrestling. We started talking about Austin 316, which I want to talk about you, Ben, discovering wrestling after WrestleMania 14, because I think that's a pivotal moment to talk about too. But Aaron, you dogged on me for not seeing King of the Ring 96 live. Did you watch it live?
No.
Okay. You fucking
Okay, because I worked a full-time job as a night security guy.
Okay.
And Sundays were a day that I had to go in at, I think I worked 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
on Sundays. So, of course, I took it out of, but I gave friend of the show, Tiger Rudo, half of the money to buy the pay-per-view and then videotape, record it on a VHS.
Okay.
And homie drove up there to where I worked, and he rolled down the window, and he was like, dude, everything you ever read in a dirt sheet about how good Stone Cold is on the mic and the things we thought we were seeing on the ECW episodes that he was on, it's all true. And there's no better example than what happened tonight. And I can't tell you anymore. And he just hands the tape out the window. I got the tape, and I went, oh, I can't wait till I get off of work to watch this. Well, how long was it going to be until I actually saw this moment with Austin? You got to go through the whole tournament.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched like the first hour and a half at work that night. I just went into the bar area and used the VCR, turned it on, watched a little bit of it, and I thought, man, how cool is this dude? And then afterwards, I went to my very religious grandmother's home to finish watching the tape.
Makes sense.
And she was in a different room, thank God, because Austin cuts that, what some people say was a blasphemous promo, but it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, this is everything.
But so did you think that was, I mean, you couldn't have thought that's going to change the course of wrestling, but you thought
I don't know if I thought it was going to change the course of wrestling, but I thought they got it.
Yeah.
Lightning in a bottle.
This is the guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. And this is what I had been reading about, because Keller and who's the other guy? Meltzer?
Yeah.
I think they were onto it early, too. I mean, once you saw his stuff in ECW, you just stopped and went, oh, he's not wearing that shiny robe anymore.
Right.
And now and I think he cut his hair right after he debuted there.
Yeah.
And he was starting to go for what the dirt sheets were calling the Bruce Willis Pulp Fiction look.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I could see something here.
Well-
and he wasn't afraid to do that. Most guys, you got long, beautiful, flowing locks like that, blonde.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to cut that because that was guys' money back then.
For sure.
Well, here's the thing, and I've, obviously I watched it at the time, and I've went back and watched these moments in years past, but watching it in the moment, Aaron, did you think, because revisionist history of WWE makes you believe that the next night on Raw, there were Austin 316 signs all over the crowd, and they knew they were going to push him to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you go back and you were watching that as a fan, it wasn't really overnight for Austin. By Survivor Series of that year, he's in the ring with Bret Hart, and that's probably Austin's biggest match to date. But did you feel that they were pushing him right away? Or because I think, looking back for me, I don't know if it wasn't for Bret Hart saying that he wanted to work with Austin. I don't
Yeah.
know if they would have ran with the Austin 316 thing
No.
as hard as they did. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I think Bret's endorsement sort of helped Austin get to that next level.
Yeah, well, I could definitely see that. But I thought maybe the coolest part about this run, if you remember, Austin wrestled on Superstars and Challenge, I think it was, every weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And lost every weekend to Steve Lombardi, to Randy Mulkey,
I don't remember this.
to...
Oh,
guys
yeah.
that
Wait,
team-
I do remember it. Because,
Yeah.
like, wasn't he just beating their asses after?
He was just beating their asses, and then, like, I can't remember if he'd just lay down and take a pin or if he'd get himself disqualified or something, but he'd always put the other guy over.
Yeah.
And then he'd beat him up again after.
Yeah.
Because that was, like, the sadistic thing to do, and he was going for that sadistic character.
Because he was going for this cold-blooded character.
And he did not care because he knew what the end result was. So what if you got beat in the ring? You made up for it afterwards. And
He was the one standing tall.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he kept saying, give me real competition. I'm not going to keep coming out here and facing these job guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, man. That shit was cool.
So Austin 316, in a lot of ways, it did shape the course of wrestling history, and I feel like it brought in a lot of fans at that time. But Ben, you mentioned discovering wrestling after WrestleMania 14. I think one could argue with the insertion of Mike Tyson into the main event scene at WrestleMania 14, that definitely brought in a lot of new fans.
Oh, 100%. And I think that for a lot of people that are listening to this, a lot of younger listeners may not understand how big of a deal Mike Tyson was in the 90s. I mean, he certainly still is. He's one of the most iconic boxing figures of all time. But in '98, this was right in the midst of his suspension from boxing, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
From biting Evander Holyfield's ear. So
And then I think he
had
was in
nothing but
jail
time.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he had nothing but time. So this was perfect storm situation.
Plus, your boy was a big wrestling fan.
Right,
Which definitely helped.
Yeah.
right. Which
He
is
loved Cold Stone.
He loved Cold Stone, my man.
So good. Well, seeing Tyson join DX was literally the first time I remember seeing wrestling being reported on the news.
Like on
That's-
ESPN and
That's how I knew.
SportsCenter, yeah.
Not only that, but like my local news, in Cleveland. Like I remember seeing it
Yeah.
and just being like, Mike Tyson joined DX, because again I didn't have cable, so I found out from the news, like not watching the program.
Right.
Like I found, obviously we talked about the next day at school, but like that's how I knew it was a big deal. you
Well,
know?
on
Right.
the local news, they reported it, and I think on ESPN and those channels, but they reported it as, we just found out who the WWF's main event at WrestleMania is going to be. It's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mike Tyson.
Yep, that's what they thought.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels isn't going to be healthy enough. They're pivoting from Michaels, who will end up being a special referee in some form.
So weird.
Which, even for the attention in getting that main event wrong, they sure as hell weren't doing it for WrestleMania 13, Undertaker Sid.
Right.
You
right.
know?
No,
Hell
not at
no.
all.
So, but yeah, absolutely. Like as you mentioned, I came in right after WrestleMania 14 and really discovering what the WWF had to offer at that time. And then after that, I discovered WCW and the NWO, and that there was this competition between the two organizations. And then it was later in the year, I had TNN on my cable package, so I discovered ECW, and
Oh, you
know-
discovered ECW in the TNN years?
yeah.
Man, I keep
Am I
forgetting
really
that kind
aging
of
you?
stuff. I keep because it's like, well, how did you guys even like it then?
I like the TNN era though. I mean, it was
I
different.
understand, but I grew up with Cactus Jack in ECW,
Yeah.
with the
Sure.
Sandman, with Steve Austin, Mikey Whipwreck, Raven, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, Rob Van Dam. That stuff was so cool.
Actually, I actually discovered ECW even before TNN. I was on vacation with my family in Key West and flipping through channels late at night.
yeah,
came
I
across
love that.
ECW,
Yeah.
and the match that I came across had Kai and Tai, and I only know Kai and Tai from the WWF as, I don't want to call them job guys, but they were like lower mid card guys. But then they had this banger of a match, and I thought, holy crap, I didn't know that they could do that.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
Were they
Yeah.
working for both?
there was a period of time where they did both, because like Draws, he worked ECW shows.
Oh yeah.
I barely
Al
remember
Snow.
that, but I remember Kai and Tai was part of the BWO.
Right.
That's how I believe that
'Cause
might be how they were introduced.
Maybe
Am I wrong?
I'm pretty positive that is how they were introduced, and
Yeah.
obviously they were on the first ECW pay-per-view.
Right.
Uh,
So timeline wise, does that match up?
I don't remember if Kai
'Cause,
Tai was like still around at that period though in ECW.
Yeah. Okay.
It
I'm
might have been
unsure.
only 98 that they were there, and it had to have been just a few like a periods
Maybe.
basis.
Yeah,
Again, we're getting off a little bit here on a tangent, but
No, it's fine.
what did you guys think about when Taka was with JBL? That's a fast forward, right?
I don't know if I remember that.
I think it was maybe a month that they tagged up briefly,
Right.
right? Yeah, I remembered it happening, but
and then
that was it.
JBL would drive, and Kai and Tai would be in, or Taka would be in the passenger seat.
I don't remember this at all.
Okay, and I could be wrong.
No, you're right. And
Okay.
and they teamed. I vaguely remember it. I just remember
But
vaguely
it only
coming out
happened
together.
a little bit,
but yeah,
I thought, okay, they have something here because I thought it would turn out to be like Regal and Tajiri were.
was this
odd couple pairing?
was this before the Choppy PP or well after?
I think it's well after.
Okay.
Oh man!
I'm real confused. I
Yeah.
got to look this up now. I don't remember at all.
All right.
But okay, so I don't think JBL and Taka changed and shaped professional wrestling.
Right. Sorry.
Maybe
okay.
somebody out there, but not
Yeah,
for us.
Yeah. But another thing that to sort of fast forward a little bit from the 90s and the 2000s, one thing that when I talk to younger guys getting into wrestling, a lot of them point to a specific moment that got them to like wrestling, and that was the CM Punk pipe bomb, which we're coming up on. We might have already come up on 10 years since that happened. At least it's right around the corner if it hasn't already passed. But like that brought in a lot of new viewers because he comes out, cuts the shoot promo, and it sort of he breaks the fourth wall. It sort of changes the landscape of wrestling at that time. When you think about the pipe bomb, Ben, do you agree with that statement? Do you think it shaped wrestling going forward in that decade?
I think that it brought renewed attention to wrestling, and it led to a lot of interest going into that Money in the Bank match because it was a very real circumstance of his contract expiring and he didn't sign. So there's this question of where would he go? What would he do? What happens if he's WWE champion but he's not a part of the company?
Which, by the way, is the same story that Punk did in Ring of Honor that got over so well when he was going to leave to go to WWE and be the Ring of Honor champion, and they sort of retread it in the WWE. But like it was still such a great storyline that it just worked.
Great storyline that worked. That in the long run, though, it fizzled out. Just because, like, you remember the Summer of Punk. I mean, I think you were there at an independent show when CM Punk showed up.
You think I was there? I've never mentioned it once before on this show. Yes, I was there.
I think that you were there.
I played a small role. In
My memory's a little hazy on that, but
yeah.
No, but
What, did you get in my bag back then?
yes.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think the problem with the run with the belt there was, I think they brought him back too quick.
It was like 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had Del Rio beat him for the belt, and then he didn't even win the belt back until Survivor Series.
and then
was
there's
that with Nash?
there's that weird awkward
he does the Nash thing in
feud
between,
with Nash
yeah.
that never really materialized into anything.
Which because I think it was because he wasn't cleared to wrestle, but then he got cleared to wrestle in a TLC match with Triple H, which was
a sledgehammer on a ladder match with
With
a
a
sledgehammer
sledgehammer,
surprise, which
yeah.
is the most
Just-
what the hell.
wasn't that like the main event of the show?
I don't know if it was the main event, but yeah,
I don't know.
what the hell. But going back to Punk though, and that like it certainly was a very impressionable moment for people younger in the business in that position that it was like that light bulb moment. Or certainly there's a lot of people in the business that cite Jeff Hardy as big inspiration as well.
Edge too. I get a lot of Edge and Jeff Hardy from younger guys. Like, not a specific moment though. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if there is a moment for those particular fans.
The only moment that I can even think of with the Jeff Hardys when he won the title at Armageddon 07.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was a pretty.
Man,
good
you
moment.
guys are nerds.
What? Shut up, man. We talk about these moments. I think Punk was very important in that decade, 2011 and beyond. Something I want to talk about with you, Aaron. I know you discovered ECW in the 90s. Did you watch when Shane Douglas threw down the NWA title, or did you read about that shortly after?
I read about that.
Because I feel
it
like...
It was in the aftermags, and it was probably a good 2 months after it actually happened. You know how they used to...
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. But I think for people that grew to love ECW and sort of the legend of ECW starts in 94 when Shane Douglas, I think in a lot of ways that sort of shaped a change in the way wrestling was presented. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. I definitely do. I mean, because I remembered Douglas as being the young, hot, fiery babyface that was in the WWF for, I don't know, what's the expression, a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, Royal Rumble 91.
Yeah.
I remember I was real pumped to see Shane Douglas,
me
and then
too.
he just disappeared.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, what happened to this Shane
So
Douglas
before
guy?
that, though, he had teamed with Steamboat?
Ricky Steamboat. Yep.
Was that before or after?
Or wait, no, that was after.
Okay, so
Yeah.
once I saw him team with Steamboat then, because I knew he was part of the Dynamic Dudes, but I wasn't a fan of theirs. Then the ECW thing, when I read the things he was saying, and then he was in a feud with Terry Funk and Sabu, and they were having hour-long matches, and I sought out and found promos that Douglas was doing. And bro, oh man, that dude, he's one of my top guys of all time.
Yeah.
Money on the mic, man.
Great stuff.
Oh. And then the way he built that, too, when he won the championship, I think he beat Scorpio, Too Cold Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
And he held the belt up, and then he talked about, he was dedicating it to his father who had recently passed away. Am I right on this?
You're right.
Okay. Because I also remember him winning the TV title in ECW. So sometimes I feel like I get confused, but okay, if I'm right on that. He dedicated it, and then he talked about all the legends, the Ricky Steamboats and the piece of shit Ric Flairs.
But like he
Dick
doesn't
Flair.
He doesn't call him a piece of shit,
Yeah.
but he says Ric Flair's name with disdain.
Yeah.
And that's when the tone of the promos changes.
Yeah.
Like and
then
they can all kiss my ass. And he throws it down, man. That's like such
And
a
I
cool
thought,
moment.
How did he even get out of the arena?
Yeah.
Well, no one even knew what was going on.
Right. It wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah,
It was
so
not
people were
planned.
probably like, okay, well, that was odd for him to do.
So, like, I think that turns a lot of people on to ECW that are sort of in the know. Do you think when ECW begins to become popular and you can get it on your random channel that you can barely see back in the mid-'90s, do you think there's a specific moment that brought people in, or do you think it was just the whole atmosphere of ECW? Or do you think it was simply like what Ben did and what I did as a teenager? I was just flipping through and I just found it. I was like, this is fucking cool. It's different.
Here's what starts it all. A heartbeat, and then the heartbeat is like a heartbeat on the E, and then the X, and then the T, the intro of the show.
Yeah.
And then it goes in, it was like the 9 Inch Nails song.
Closer, not by 9 Inch Nails.
Then remixed into Rob Zombie,
Yep.
or what were they called? White Zombie.
White Zombie.
White
Okay,
Zombie,
yeah.
Yep.
And it goes into that Thunder Kiss song.
Yeah.
Everything picks up, and I went, oh, this ain't the WWF cookie cutter. We're gonna show the Bushwhackers. Sorry, I gotta bring them up.
Huh?
But fun loving and licking boys' heads. This is guys are throwing down belts, and women are getting DDT'd or pile driven. And wait. Let me ask you guys this. Sorry, I know you want to say something.
No,
Ben,
yeah.
but is it pile drived, pile driven, pile drove?
I go by pile drove in the past tense.
Well, you're a substitute teacher, right?
Was. But
Okay.
yes.
Pile, I don't know. I feel like I change it depending on.
So do I,
The time I'm-
depending on whatever I'm feeling.
So like, I pile drove that guy, and then like
Yeah.
he was pile driven. He was.
Yeah, but
pile
you can't
driven.
say I pile driven him.
No,
No.
it would be
So
I pile drove him.
drove him.
Yes,
Okay.
but then if I saw it, I'd be like, he pile.
Drived him? Pile drove
I don't
him.
know. I confuse.
Okay, I need the
Well,
people out there to talk about this. So if you're, one of our many fans,
Yeah.
please write in and let me know what the correct grammar is on it. Because if you're Shane Douglas, actually, just let me know. Okay. I know he's a listener of the show, right?
He was a dean, too.
Right.
Very true.
Yeah.
So, Ben, you were trying to get something in.
Yeah. So what you described about, like, that beginning intro, that's the same feeling that I had when I first discovered ECW. Now, granted, this was 1998.
Yeah.
1998 ECW was much different than, what was it, 95? Or no, it was even
I
earlier.
think for me, though...
That was 94.
Yeah, but I think my first show I saw was 96.
I still had that same feeling of, like, what was going on in WWF and WCW I loved, but it was like discovering something I shouldn't have discovered.
It was almost like finding porn for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That this was
like
like
you went over your
taboo
buddy's
wrestling.
house and he was like, hey, found this tape. It's not labeled. It was in my parents' room. Want to see what's on it?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a pizza delivery guy right there. Oh my gosh, these girls, there's 3 of them and they don't have any money. Whoops.
What are they going to do?
That's what ECW felt like
Yeah.
to me. Huh. Ooh, I feel like I should be punished for watching this,
Yeah.
but I can't stop watching.
Well, and again, like I mentioned it before on the show, before I actually saw ECW, of all people, the person that was watching ECW, because to this day, he always tries to claim, well, I'm just watching wrestling because nothing else is on. My fucking dad was watching ECW before I even watched it, and he described it to me as, well, it's real wrestling. It's not like that fake shit you watch. Like, it made my dad believe that it was real because they used weapons and there was blood and violence and guts. Like, that's what he liked about ECW. So I was like, I guess I have to check out this ECW thing.
And that's what was described to me by the kids at school that I went with, because, it was either WWF or WCW. But there's a collective pocket of kids that were like, oh, man, ECW.
Yeah.
This is the real stuff. They use real songs and they cuss a lot. Not that they weren't cussing on WWF and WCW, mind you, but like you could see boobs.
Yep.
Hey, I'm telling you, I think that first time that ECW aired in our local market here, friend of the show, Tiger Rudo, was switching through the channels, and he called me. I had one of those cell phones that was $3.85 a minute or whatever. And nobody called me unless it was the most important thing in the world. I got the call. I was 1 in the morning. I think I was in Baldwin Wallace. I was spending the night at somebody's house, some chick or something that I knew from wherever. But so I was away at this college, and he calls. He goes, "Can you get to the TV right now?" And I said, "No, what's going on?" He said, "ECW's on Sunshine Network," or whatever it was. And I went, huh? What's happening right now? And he goes, he's like, I don't know, New Jack's cutting the best promo I've ever heard in my life. He's cutting it on the Eliminators. And they just came out and brawled. And I was like, what are they doing now? And he's like, I don't know, man. It was 5 minutes ago. Oh, they just came back from commercial. They're still brawling. What? Oh, yeah. They've interrupted every single match so far and just started kicking each other's asses. What? No way. He goes, I'm like 8 minutes late in recording, but that's what's happening right now. I said, oh, okay, call me when it's over. He goes, dude, when he called me back, he said, dude, I think Beulah and Kimona just made out. And then Tommy Dreamer made out with both of them because he's hardcore? I was like, what? And he goes, they put an X or an ECW or something over it. He goes, but, I can't wait till you see this. And I couldn't get home from that college fast enough.
I'm sure. Wow. What a moment in time.
Yeah.
Well, so ECW in the 90s, that brings in a certain group of fans. It does its thing. But something I wanted to talk to you about, because I know what sucked me into wrestling as a kid. I think the moment for me was Warrior and Hogan, and it sort of grew from there.
Yeah.
But in general, being a kid of the 80s here, and we all know the movement that the WWF created at that point. Perhaps maybe you can point to rock and wrestling, but do you think there's a moment in general that sort of sucked people into professional wrestling, or do you think it's a combination of a lot?
I thought rock and wrestling, but here was the thing. For me, I was a big A-Team fan. And I was a big Mr. T fan. So one night, I remember walking into my mom's house from, I was somewhere. Maybe I spent the night at grandma's or something. The next night she brought me back. And then it was like 11:30, 11:40. And Hulk Hogan and Mr. T were on Saturday Night Live together.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And
prior
I
to
think they were
WrestleMania.
like kind of flexing.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, whoa, that guy next to Mr. T is huge. He'd obviously get his ass whooped if they ever fought because I was just all Mr. T, and Hulk Hogan was a sports guy, and I hated sports. I hated all sports then.
I can't even imagine that with
And
you.
so like the charisma was what was drawing me in. I was like, I don't even know how I'm ever going to watch this.
Mhm.
How can I watch wrestling? And then I found out that it was on the next week, I believe. There was a Saturday Night's main event, and that's when I saw Hogan versus Nikolai Volkov.
Mm-hmm.
It probably wasn't the next week. It was probably weeks later or something.
Sure.
But Hogan and Nikolai Volkov, I've told the story. You know, I think Hogan shined his boots with the Russian flag, and there was a wrestling wedding, and Uncle Elmer was getting married, and I went, I have no idea what I'm watching, but I love every second of it.
Yeah.
Give me more of this
Mhm.
every day. And then so I start going through. Back then we had what was called a TV guide.
Oh, yeah, we know what a TV guide is.
Yes, we
And
know
so
what it is.
we also had a phone book.
I know
Okay,
what a phone
so-
book is too.
So the TV guide I went through and I went, oh, WWF, USA, whatever they're, All American Wrestling.
Mhm.
Oh, that's going to be on Sundays? So then I knew I was going to watch that on Sundays. And I was definitely hooked. Oh, Rock and Wrestling was the other thing, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Because I started watching that only because Mr. T was my favorite, and Junkyard Dog was on the Rock and Wrestling cartoon, and I thought it was Mr. T because there were no other male African-American lead characters in a cartoon television series. So I went, oh, that's obviously Mr. T. He's only got one chain on, and it's silver, but I'll watch this for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's driving in a Cadillac with Hulk Hogan on the cartoon. And then I found out it was Junkyard Dog, and I saw him cut a promo, and I took him with the dog, baby.
Wow, I thought Junkyard Dog was in the room.
Yeah, well,
yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
So you want a headbutt?
no, thank you.
Come on, I'll get on all fours right
I always
now
thought his
for you.
headbutt looked like
I'll
garbage.
watch.
I didn't like his headbutt. Like when you get on all fours, and
Yeah.
I thought it looked dumb.
Did you like it when
well,
Eugene
were you
did it?
8?
I think it looked better than when Eugene did it, actually.
Oh,
I'm probably
Yeah.
going to get a lot of heat for that comment.
Well,
Eugene had a better
you know,
headbutt
again,
than Junkyard
he
Dog.
tweet- at Gregory Iron.
I was 8 or 9.
True.
Or 8. I was probably 8, 7 or 8 when Junkyard Dog was getting on all fours, and he was a dog.
Yeah.
And he was headbutting people.
Yeah.
And Harley Race was selling the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good deal for me.
So do
Thump.
do you think it was just rock and wrestling in general? Do you think
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan...
Well,
becoming
I would
a-
have never seen any of this had rock and wrestling not been created because they weren't. Then they wouldn't have been mainstream. And all I did, anytime when I was changing channels looking for something to watch, if wrestling was on, I'd hurry up. I couldn't change the channel faster because I didn't want to watch sports.
Yeah.
And I just figured that's what it was.
Well, so WrestleMania, I think, brings in a new audience based on the rock and wrestling connection and the relationship with MTV. But I don't know. Again, I was just being born at this point, but looking back in retrospect, I think people get sucked in '85. But I think what keeps people for a few more years is the fact that WrestleMania sort of becomes a pop culture phenomenon after WrestleMania 3. Because you could argue what the supposed attendance is for WrestleMania 3 all day long, but you can't deny that it truly was a spectacle. And if you saw clips of it or you saw photos of it at the time, and you saw Andre the Giant, who's this larger-than-life figure who was just in The Princess Bride, against Hulk Hogan, who was breaking out as this mainstream celebrity, I think one can argue that WrestleMania 3 might have been a moment in time that really brought in a lot of wrestling fans in general.
Well, who else was part of it that was not a wrestler?
WrestleMania
Bob
3.
Uecker.
Bob Uecker.
He
Aretha
was one of the
Franklin.
bigger names in television at the time. He was on that Belvedere show.
Yes,
I watch that
I love
motherfucker
Mr.
every week.
I love Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah.
Great show.
I always was waiting for him to break out of that role as the butler and just like come up on some money and you know, I'm richer than everybody here. I have more money than all
Just
of you.
turned heel like Hobo Joe. Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight was on the show. Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper, yeah.
So when you look at just those clips right there, you go, oh, man, everybody's going to this event. I should be watching it.
Yeah.
And then what was the tagline? What the world is watching? That was WrestleMania 2?
WrestleMania 4 was what the world was watching.
Okay, yeah.
Bigger, badder, better.
Yeah, that's WrestleMania 3. But one could argue, though, if you look back at WrestleMania 2, perhaps the appearance of celebrity Herb might have brought in a lot of mainstream fans. I can't even say that out loud.
You mean the Burger King Herb?
Yeah, you remember he does that little dance in the ring? Like
And then they had the Where's the Beef Lady?
WrestleMania 2.
Again, we talked about that, I think, in a bonus episode. I can't believe they had competing fast food companies on the same WrestleMania.
Dude, how brilliant were they, though?
I can't believe,
Because people were talking about that old lady all the time.
But again, I can't believe, like, I don't know who they booked first, but like they book Herb and like, hey, motherfuckers, you can't book the Where's the Beef Lady too. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no policy against that.
Yeah.
Just what? Crazy.
I wish, you know what, too? If this was, what are we talking, 97 or something? You know that would have been a match.
Oh,
1,000%.
oh,
right?
Yeah.
Because they did Nacho Man and Huckster?
Yes.
WrestleMania 12.
That
What
would
year?
be, 1996, March 31st.
96. Okay, so yeah, if it was 96, it might have been a mixed tag or something.
Where's Ronald McDonald in the mix?
No, well, we got to figure that out.
Well, that's the inspiration for Doink the Clown.
I thought it was Krusty the Clown.
Is it? Is that a real thing?
Yeah,
That is.
Hawk would see. Matt Boone
that's
in the
right,
locker
I've
room.
heard-
He's like,
Yeah.
looks like Krusty the Clown.
That was a great Hawk voice you did, by the way.
And I didn't even try. That was not good.
Looks
I know.
like Krusty the Clown.
That's much better. I didn't try.
We dine on danger.
The one thing we didn't talk about, though, which we've talked about it several times in the past, so you have to go back in the archives. The NWO obviously brought in a lot of fans, too. When that turn with Hogan at Bash at the Beach, I mean, that changed the course of wrestling. But I always find that
Still think
interesting.
it should have been Luger as the third guy.
I don't know about that.
Mabel.
But come on, man. But when Hogan turned, it's funny because he's getting booed at the time in general. But when he turns, it wasn't like today, if that would have happened, like if Roman Reigns would have turned in front of a crowd, he was getting booed because they didn't like him being a babyface. They would have cheered him for becoming heel. But they were booing Hogan building up to it. And then when he turned, they booed him worse and they threw garbage at him, which is something I sort of, I mean, at the time I was invested in him turning and I was very sad and disappointed by it. But it's interesting to me that he got booed so heavily going into that show and then he had actual heat for becoming a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, can you wrap your mind around that? Why that would have happened, Aaron? I mean, as someone that was watching at the time and was a little older, what's the rationale behind that?
Behind booing him?
No, behind people actually being emotionally invested in the turn, despite not wanting to see him as a good guy.
And throwing garbage into the ring after the fact.
Because they wanted to throw garbage before that. But they couldn't because he was babyface.
No, they didn't have a reason for it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That
This
makes
was
sense.
that reason.
Yeah, now he turned, all right, fucking all, what do you call it? All cylinders go right now
Yeah.
or whatever. We're firing. Boom, boom, they're throwing shit. They're throwing
But do you
shit.
think? But do you think too that there are people in the crowd that felt genuinely betrayed by that? Like,
Well,
maybe younger-
Shivani helped that along, and I think that's something that flies under the radar.
It
Shivani telling Hogan to go to hell,
Dude, that
go
closing
straight to
line,
hell.
That's the closing line. It's so good, and it's
the closing line of my lifetime,
yeah.
I
sure.
believe.
He's
And
red
then
and
that was
yellow.
the seal of approval.
Yep.
Okay, it's okay to throw shit at these guys.
And like he says it with such disdain, and the way he says it's like Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell. Silence, straight to hell. Like it's like it was real. It was very, very real.
And you didn't hear commentators really say that.
No, not
Right,
In
at all.
general too, yeah.
Not at all.
And it was like, hell's a borderline swear word. Hogan was always the guy with the cross and the crucifix and the chain and, say your prayers. And for Shivani to say, go to hell, go straight to hell.
Yeah, man. And that's the difference.
That's how evil.
That's the difference when Stone Cold turned heel, WrestleMania 17. By the way, that was the match that made me want to become a wrestler, was Rock, Austin, WrestleMania 17, April 1st.
Really? He doesn't like that match, right?
He doesn't like the WrestleMania 19 match. Or,
Oh,
well, at least
okay.
he didn't like it originally, but he never went back and watched it until about a year and a half ago.
Same emotion that Jim Ross had when Austin made the turn, but They were in Texas. They were happy. Stone Cold won the
championship.
belt.
Which when I was watching live, I didn't understand it was a heel turn because because the crowd in Texas was cheering. So I was like, "Is Austin a bad guy?" And I was waiting for the stunner.
Yeah.
And it never came. And then it went off the air, and I remember sitting there being like, "Is Austin a bad guy?" I don't know what.
It seemed
happened.
like initially Vince turned babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. When I saw it.
But I mean, you have JR on commentary making it pretty crystal clear.
Because he said you just made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So, if somebody's turning heel and it's a big deal, then you're either going to hell or you're in bed with the devil.
Why, Steve? Why?
Sure. So I want to sort of wrap this up in it because I feel like we can keep going about this, but I want people to know, what moments in wrestling do you think changed the landscape of the industry? What moments do you think sucked you in and kept you around? But here's a big question that I have. What's been going on with wrestling in the past 5-ish years? I feel like if you grew up in another era, that's usually the era you sort of lean towards as far as your likes in wrestling. And you could argue that the last 5 years of wrestling has been up and down with storylines and whatever. Do you think there's something in the last 5 years that has sucked in a new audience? The next generation of kids watching wrestling right now, what do you think they're going to look towards and say when they become wrestlers in 15 years, 10 years? What are the moments? Who are the wrestlers that are bringing them in and keeping them around? Ben?
I would say Daniel Bryan. Well, it's a little bit over 5 years, but with the whole Yes movement, and especially that's something that was done at baseball games, football games, things like that. I would say that's probably the last true crossover star. I mean, not counting guys like John Cena that have gone to Hollywood, things like that.
And that's something that I feel like we should just sort of mention as a footnote here. I really feel like The Rock crossing over into movies helped bring people into wrestling, but also, and this might be shocking to hear at first from people, particularly with a female audience. I've never watched one full episode, but I think Total Divas brought in a large female audience that would have never watched wrestling otherwise. I think that was very important in bringing in fans.
I've discussed this with women that have talked about liking wrestling because they saw Total Divas, which astounds me.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with wrestling, but that's the whole point, is to bring eyeballs to the main product.
Right.
Which, hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
So you could certainly point to that. Daniel Bryan. I would say maybe Roman Reigns as well.
Good point.
And you know what? I'll say this too. I think that Kevin Owens is this generation's Mick Foley, the guy that doesn't look like a wrestler, but he's able to kick ass, absorb punishment. He looks like maybe a viewer at home, but he's living out being a wrestler on the television screen. Because I identified a lot with Mick Foley, Mankind, as a kid too. Because, I was a chunkier kid, not the most popular, but Mankind was doing it on WWF television.
Yeah.
And through him, I was able to live vicariously. And then when his book came out as well, that allowed me to, I think, connect even more.
Yeah. I never thought about that comparison between Kevin Owens and Mick Foley. That's a really good point. Aaron, what about you? Who do you think that the kids of this generation are going to look at and say, this is the reason why I got into wrestling? This was the moment.
I
was
love
the
the Total Divas point that you guys are talking about,
because
I've had that conversation with many people before that didn't know anything about wrestling, and were like, I happen to see this Total Bellas show or Total Divas show. I like that. The Miz has a show. I heard he's from Cleveland, so I watched Raw the other night to see him. So those things are okay. Women's wrestling also. Then it got taken up a notch when Ronda came on board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
Yep. 100%.
I feel like if there's one wrestler that brought in a new audience in the last 5 years, it would probably be Ronda making that crossover. And
I think that there was a capitalization off the audience that the Bellas were bringing in.
Yeah.
Here's a good point. I think I told you earlier this week that a coworker of ours just got a deal with Natty Neidhart to do her gear.
I thought that was a joke.
Oh, no. And so she had shown me, this guy that she works for,
Wait, this is a real thing?
Yeah. So she showed me this guy that she works for is a designer, and so I think he's her mentor, and he has done red carpet dresses for Natalia Neidhart. And it was weird for me because she goes, I think I got some deal going on where I get to make this wrestler's gear. And I was like, oh, cool. Who, Greg? And she's like, no, like a real one. And I said, she said, it's one of those famous women's ones. And she goes, I can't remember her name. I want to say when she sent the email, it said Natty or something. And she said, I think it's Natty Neihart. And I said, no. It's definitely not Neihart.
No, she got it right.
There's a D in there.
What?
But my whole point is that there's a 72-year-old man that I work with who turned and said, you mean Natalia Neidhart from the Total Divas?
So random.
Yeah, but I told you she had started making gear and stuff like that. So, but the only reason I guess she got this was because whoever her mentor is was making these red carpet dresses for Natalia. And then I went to the Facebook page and saw she's all over the place there.
Weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's weird, wild stuff.
Yeah. And she said she'd make your stuff for free, but you haven't contacted her yet. So.
Well, maybe I'll have to talk with her now. I don't know. But
she goes, let me make Greg a couple. And remember I sent you those pictures of me modeling her bikini briefs and stuff?
Yeah.
And did you like that?
Those were unsolicited. And in this day and age, you do that to anyone else, you're going to get canceled, okay? So you better
Well,
watch
don't
who you're
worry.
sending
I
those to.
stuffed.
Jesus, God. Look, okay. Just, if anybody has any input on this topic, people, things that change professional wrestling, let us know. You can tweet us at Iron on Wrestling. Send us your stuff over on Facebook at Iron on Wrestling, Instagram as well. Interact with us. We appreciate that. Follow us if you're not already. Subscribe on iTunes or wherever you download podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We're uploading content on there all the time. You can actually listen to the podcast on YouTube if you prefer that. And make sure you give us 5 stars after you listen to the podcast. It creates visibility. We really appreciate that. And look, we can talk longer about this, but we got an interview to get to. So Ben, Aaron, right now we're going to go to some commercials from our fine sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to go to the interview with the Southern Flamingo, Kody Lane. No, we're not doing.
Oh, this is my favorite.
No. Why are you doing this right now? No.
Okay.
Oh,
Don't do it.
All right.
okay.
Okay?
Yep.
I'm going to go to a commercial now,
Go on.
and you're not going to do the trivia.
Right.
I really want to be a part of the trivia.
If you're in the pro wrestling or entertainment industry, you probably realize how important it is to have merchandise. Not only does it help you when it comes to bringing in additional revenue for yourself, but the look and feel of merch is a representation of the brand you're building. So you definitely don't want it to suck. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, where can I find a reliable and reputable artist that'll make me a solid t-shirt or pin design that'll make me look and feel like a superstar? Well, I've got the answer for you. Of the Dead Designs. Of the Dead Designs is a one-man merch company ran by artist Juan Ortiz. Now his name may not be familiar to you, but his artwork should be, because you've likely seen his designs on TV and Hot Topic, and he's created some of the highest-selling shirt designs in pro wrestling tees history. Of the Dead Designs has created artwork for the biggest names in WWE, AEW, ROH, Impact, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and beyond. I'm talking guys like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, CM Punk, The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Road Warrior, Animal, The Lucha Brothers, Jungle Boy, even yours truly. Now you're probably saying, whoa, I'm not in the league of The Young Bucks or Hulk Hogan, brother. There's no way I can afford artwork from Of the Dead Designs. Well, I'm here to tell you you're wrong, because Of the Dead Designs is affordable. Juan isn't just looking to create art for the superstars of today. He wants to make it for the superstars of tomorrow as well. And look, Of the Dead Designs doesn't just do artwork for wrestlers. He'll create merch for your band, your podcast, your dance troupe, your kids' pee-wee football team, your daughter's school bake sale. Heck, got a girl that you're afraid to talk to, but you stalk on Instagram and like all of her photos at around 2 or 3 a.m., and you've been hoping that you get the hint like, hey, I really like you, but she has yet to slide in your DMs, and now you think, well, I got to take it to the next level, so you get Of the Dead Designs to use a photo of her ex-boyfriend as a reference to create artwork, but you replace the ex's face with your face and then present this custom artwork to the chick with hopes that she'll kiss you directly on the lips. Of the Dead Designs will do that for you.
With over 14 years of experience and a portfolio of clients that speaks for itself, Of the Dead Designs will make your artwork at a reasonable price. And hey, if you mention this ad, you'll save $10 on your first design. Of the Dead Designs still has spots open for 2020, so you gotta act fast. If you're interested in a design, contact Of the Dead Designs right now on Instagram at ofthedead209, on Facebook at facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns, or at his website, ofthedead.weebly.com. Of the Dead Designs, bringing artwork to life. We will return to the Iron on Wrestling podcast in just a moment, but I wanted to take a couple minutes of this time to let you guys know that if you didn't realize it already, Iron on Wrestling is a DIY project. That's right, I'm recording all of this myself. I'm editing it in-house all by myself. I'm coming up with the segments and the content, and I'm making sure that each and every Wednesday, by investing countless hours of my personal time, you guys have a new, unique, and entertaining episode blasting into your ear holes. So I hope you don't mind that for a few minutes each episode, you have to deal with a little bit of advertising. Because, quite frankly, I gotta pay those bills somehow. But you know, I don't just pick anyone to be an advertiser on the podcast. When I choose an advertiser for the show, I want to make sure that it's someone that can bring you, the listener, value. I often talk about Of the Dead Designs and my good buddy Juan Ortiz, who can create you a unique logo or t-shirt design for your personal brand. But once that t-shirt design is made, who's going to print it for you? Well, that's where Jesse Massey and SBS Printing comes in. Jesse is a good friend of mine, and much like me in this podcast, he's DIY. For over 10 years, Jesse has been printing t-shirts and hoodies in the comfort of his own home, and he's been the official t-shirt printer for guys like myself, Atticus Koger, Eddie Only, Ricky Shane Page, basically all the 440 guys. My favorite thing about Jesse Massey is the quick turnaround time. When I go to Jesse and I need a shirt design printed right away, I know that he'll have it ready for me within 3 to 5 days, sometimes even quicker. And on top of that, he's affordable. Jesse and SBS can print one color shirt designs for as low as $5. $5. Where are you going to find another deal like that? Now you're probably thinking at a price like that, there's no way these could be quality, long-lasting prints. Wrong! They're super high quality and they're going to last you a lifetime. Jesse and SBS can print you t-shirts, zip-up hoodies, sweaters, and so much more. I encourage you to hit up Jesse right now. Shoot him an email at antisepticmaxrock@gmail.com. That's ANTISEPTIC maxrock@gmail.com. With Jesse Massey and SBS, you're going to get the best. That's no BS. Well, it's been over a year since we had him on the show, one of the first interviews for Iron on Wrestling, and I'm happy. I'm proud to be talking to my friend, Kody Lane.
Yo, what's up, Greg?
Not much. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. I don't know how long we're going to go, but I feel like we haven't talked in depth in a while. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm just, pandemic is slowly easing up, so just trying to wrestle a little bit more.
Yeah.
Getting out there. We're here in San Antonio right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We sure are.
So, I don't know how things been with you.
Good, but this isn't about me.
Okay.
This is about you. The pandemic was rough for everybody, and I feel like we sort of touch on this with all the guests.
Mm-hmm.
As far as wrestling goes, how busy were you during this pandemic?
Dude, so I had one show in January of 2020. Got knocked out.
Yeah,
I cracked my skull.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, dude, y'all want to hear about it? All right. So, I did a stupid move to the outside.
I don't think it was stupid, though.
The person who caught me was stupid. So, I cracked my skull on the ground. I went for a big Rana to the outside, This big man did not catch me. I hit the ground. I wake up in the hospital. Had to get a CAT scan. I had a lacerated pinky because my pinky dislocated and went outside my skin and went right back in.
Oh, God.
And then what's funny is that, we were in Austin when that happened. I had to stay in the hospital for like 4 or 5 hours. I had to drive right back to St. Louis because I was moving apartments that next day.
Only in wrestling.
Yeah, I moved an entire apartment out the next day.
How? With a fucking last.
Well, I had my wife help me.
Yeah.
At the time, and then I had to just move everything with one hand. I moved a bed with one hand, everything. I was completely fucked up. Like I couldn't do anything.
You know, as a man with one hand, I
know something about one-handed stuff.
I know the struggle. So in that situation, not that I want sympathy, but could you sympathize what I have to go through on a
Well, I
daily
almost
basis?
texted you and I said, Greg, I hurt my pinky. I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
I almost said it. Yeah, but
But it's funny because I've had that over the years with people that like hurt their arm or hurt their hand, where they're
Yeah.
just like, fuck, like I don't know how you do it. I mean, like I don't know how I do it either because it's just. I mean, that's just how I do things. I don't know how to do things with two hands.
Yeah, your whole life you've been with that. So you're left-handed, right? And then like you've lived your whole life doing everything mainly with one hand.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I separated my shoulder a couple years ago and I couldn't use my left arm for nothing.
Yeah.
So I was completely fucked up. I was like, holy shit! I didn't realize how much I used both my arms at the same time.
It's crazy.
So yeah, I've had a shit ton of injuries.
Yeah, well, like, what was the recovery process with the finger and the cracked skull? But also, before we talk about the cracked skull, I guess, like, what was the feeling when you see that your pinky is outside of the skin?
So the one that got lacerated was my left pinky, and that one always dislocates because a few years prior to that, I dislocated, and it's always been a weak joint since then.
Okay.
So, so when that happened, the skin went out, went right back in. It was still dislocated, but the bone wasn't hanging out of it. So they popped that back in for me and everything. They wrapped it up, and it looked gross. I'll send you a picture of it.
Okay.
And so that was fine. Like I was like, I've dealt with this multiple times, so it'll heal quick. Like within 5 days, I wasn't wearing the little cast and all that stuff. But the skull, man, like I didn't crack anything, but I had a major concussion.
Sure.
I blacked out. I'll tell you a funny story. So to drive down here, I drove from St. Louis to Oklahoma, to my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Got in my grandfather's car and drove down there. And people who don't know my grandpa, I have to always tell people down here in Texas stories about him. He's very funny, notoriously racist. So he's a good guy, but he
okay. Minus the racism.
Minus the racism.
Yeah.
But Dylan Dunbar, the promoter of heavy metal wrestling, was one of the guys who carried me to the back.
Okay.
And I don't remember saying this, but he was carrying me. He went, Cody, where did you park your racist grandpa's car at? And I looked him dead in the eye, and I said, how'd you know my grandpa was racist? And I went right back out and blacked out.
Oh, my God. What the hell?
Yeah, dude. So, like, that happened. And then I woke up in a car, and I was saying some crazy shit, and I woke up in the hospital in the little MRI, little CAT scan deal. And then Ethan Price was right next to me because he showed up. And then, man, they took me back to the car, and then Ethan Price drove 6 hours to Oklahoma. We maybe took a 3-hour nap. And then I met my wife in the U-Haul, and then we just drove another 7.5 hours back to St. Louis.
That's crazy.
Only in wrestling. If that would have happened anywhere else, we'd be in the hospital for a day and a half.
Sure.
And we wouldn't do anything for a week.
Like everything you said to the normal person, that's insane.
It's stupid.
But like that's part of what we do. And I feel like guys that don't appreciate wrestling or like just brush it off as fake, it's stories like that are far too real. You know?
Yeah, and it's a sense of, for some reason, like when that happened, you kind of got this, like, you don't know at that moment, but you have, like, a sense of, like, I guess pride. You're just like, I'm fucked up, but I have something else I got to do outside of wrestling.
Yeah. And
I don't want wrestling to, like, ruin the personal life, too.
Sure.
So you're just like, I gotta make this happen. I got to move the apartment.
Yeah.
That's all I thought. I was like, I'm going to be a little slow moving it, but we're going to knock it out, and we're going to do it.
As far as the cracked skull, the concussion.
Yeah.
Like, how long did they tell you to be out, and was there an urgency to get back into things?
So January 18th, which sucked because the next week after that, I was supposed to wrestle like Sue Young back in San Antonio. So it really bummed. I had to miss that match, and like I knew I couldn't do it. Even that whole week afterward, I felt okay, but I was like, I know I physically couldn't do it.
Sure.
So, and with that major concussion, man, like I was depressed. I had a lot of like just weird shit going on in my life. Like I was just deeply depressed for like weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, why
do you think?
I feel
Do you
like
think
shit?
the concussion like played a factor? Because,
Absolutely.
Like, did you cry at all?
I cried a few times. Just like when I watched that video back of me hitting my head on the ground, I kind of cried. Not because I was like, oh no, I can't believe it happened to me. It was just some weird, like, overwhelming thing that came over me. I was like teary-eyed, and then
that's
like,
normal with concussions, though. I didn't realize that because I'm sure I told you back in the day I had a concussion with brain bleeding.
Yeah.
And I just profusely kept crying in the hospital room and telling, like, Gargano showed up, and like my friend Ron from high school, and my dad, and Johnny's parents, and I remember I just kept crying, apologizing to them, telling them I'm sorry that they had to see me this way, and obviously they didn't care, but like. It was not a typical reaction for me to do that.
No,
you know?
neither
weird.
for me either. But I figured out why that is, because when you get hurt like that, your body's such under trauma and shock.
Yeah.
You don't know emotions or anything like that. Because like that whole time, like when I was concussed and we drove that whole way back, I was talking, I was joking around. I was like, oh man, I can't believe that crazy shit happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a week later my body finally calmed down. That's when the tears came. That's when the depression came. That's when I was just laying in bed all day. I was like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
So fast forward, that happened January 18th of 2020. In February, I had a 3-way match in Hamilton, Ontario for A1.
Okay.
It was me, Josh Alexander, and Isaias Velasquez. I ruptured my bursa sac in my knee. So I had back-to-back major injuries.
Fuck, I remember that.
It looked like a big fucking titty on my knee, you know? Like
Titties are great when they're not on your knee.
Oh, dude, yeah, no nipple, no nothing. Just a big fucking flat titty, dude. You know?
If she's not a lady if...
She ain't 280. That's what
right.
I'm saying.
All right,
That's our motto here.
so many
Iron on
catchphrases.
Wrestling.
That's your motto, man. I can't steal your gimmicks here, brother.
But yeah, I blew that out. And then I had to wrap that up. I was like, wow, I blew like my patella tendon. I thought I fucked something up. I don't know if I told you this, but when that happened, we got like 5 hours down the road. We were in Detroit or somewhere. It was me, Dan the Dad, and Warhorse all traveling together.
Great car.
Yeah, it was a good car. We go to this gas station. All the swelling went away from my knee. And I was like, I think I can drive, man. Let me drive. All right, let me go in this gas station and pee real quick. I'm walking to the gas station. All that fluid rushed back to that open bursa sac. That's the shit that just keeps you all that fluid from your tendons and everything. It all rushed right back, and it turned purple and red and veiny.
Oh.
So I walked into this gas station at 4 in the morning, and this limping with a big fucking tumor tit on my knee. And that gas station attendant's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, don't worry about it. Just give me this water and bang, we're good to go. You know, just give it to me. And it's like, I just walked out of there with one leg, dude, and I just drove the whole way with one leg propped up on the dash, and I just drove the whole, like, for like 4 or 5 hours.
Is that the stupidest injury traveling experience? Because when you say that, the first thing that comes into my mind, and I think I was just telling someone this recently, you know, I can remember doing a match after I hurt my ankle really bad at Dragon Gate back in like 2011.
Yeah. That's so cool you got to do Dragon Gate.
Yeah,
by the way,
like, it was just dark matches, like a couple dark matches, and didn't pan out in anything. It was like I did one of those. It's called the Fray or Fray. You could call it the Fray. I did one of those. A lot of good guys in that match, and then I did a short match with Brody Lee, which R.I.P. I'm glad I got that match with him. That was one of 2 that I had with him. But like I hurt my ankle really fucking bad to the point where I think. And I don't know for sure because I never went to the hospital, which is dumb. It's a dumb wrestler thing. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I fractured my ankle.
Yeah.
I could hardly walk to the point where I took a couple weeks off, and I thought I was better. Opening spot of the match, I go to throw a forearm. My ankle just buckles underneath me, and I can't be whipped at all. But I knew I had to go to New York City for Chikara. So I drove right after this match, 8.5 hours in New York City, with my ankle in a bucket of ice. And I would stop every couple hours to put more ice in it, while I just drove the whole way, knowing that once I got there, I wouldn't be able to be whipped in matches. And literally for the next 3 months at least, I did a slew of matches, and I could not be whipped. Yeah. But I never took time off. Mm-hmm. It was so fucking dumb in retrospect, but like that's, I don't know if it's stupidity or just that you're so stubborn. You don't want to take the time off.
I think it's all the above. Like we are stupid when we do shit like that and we don't go to the hospital and stuff like that. And then we're just stubborn because we're like, we can't stop wrestling. Like we worked hard to get to this point to get these bookings.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna have my stupidity not take these bookings away. Like
Yeah.
no, I'm with you. It's all the above for me. You know what I mean? Like that was the stupidest traveling thing I had to do. I'll tell you another one. So in Louisiana, when I used to live in Austin, Texas, it was about 6 hours from Austin, Louisiana. I dislocated my elbow completely out of the socket. It looked like a backwards Y. I was all fucked up.
That's horrible.
So we were at it was like an all boys like Christian school or something like that, Catholic school.
Okay.
That we were wrestling. We were wrestling inside the basketball court. This guy dropped me on my head. The only way to protect my neck was to put my arm out, like just so I get hurt, and it just dislocated. And all boys Catholic school, right? 1, 2, 3. That guy just pinned me. He didn't even check on me. He rolled out.
Okay.
I said, God damn it, motherfucker.
No.
I said under every word on the story. And do you know who James Beard is?
I do not.
So he's an NWA ref.
Okay.
Fuck him. So, because all he did, I just look like in a fucking Vietnam War days. I look at him in the by the ringside, and he just disappears between like the fucking back. He just walks away. Doesn't even help.
I like how you like reference Vietnam. When were you even alive for the Gulf War?
I wasn't alive for the Gulf War, but I wasn't. So that doesn't matter, Greg. But like, but all I heard was like just like, bing, just like I couldn't hear nothing. I just see this fat fuck behind the fucking entrance ring. Behind the entrance, he just walks away, and this old dude grabs my arm. Like I have like 4 old men grab my arm.
Okay.
And they look at me in the eye, and they went, we can pop this back into place. And I went, if you touch me, I'm going to fuck you up. And I'm a non-confrontational person. Sure. I said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm a non-confrontational person. So they did that, and so they got an ambulance, unfortunately. So
which is more money that you have to pay.
It was $500.
Yeah.
And let's just get it out there right out the gate. I had Adam Lee. That's how me and Adam Lee became best friends, because he was with me. He held my dislocated arm in the air for 2 hours before they popped it back into place.
Holy shit.
So he rode in the ambulance with me. We went to a bumfucked Louisiana hospital. They pumped me full of morphine. If no one's had morphine before, it's pretty good stuff.
You don't feel anything.
It's
with
great.
morphine.
I wish I had it on tap. Like I wish I could wake up and put that shit in my coffee. So like So they pumped me full of it, right? And I'm just in pain. I'm like, oh my God. I was so. This is where I'm getting to stupid travel. So like I was gonna debut for Alpha One 2 weeks prior to this. I dislocated my arm on a Saturday, post wrestle on a Sunday 2 weeks later. This is 2018. I'm like crying because I'm just in so much pain. I'm just like, Adam, I missed my chance to wrestle for A1. Like this is my chance to really try to do something. I'm like crying and all that shit. They pumped me full of morphine. I feel a bit better. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be okay. And they said, you still in pain? And I lied, and I went, I'm in very much pain. They pumped me again full of morphine. They come back 15 minutes later. My arm's still fucked up. And they said, you okay? I went, pump me full more. I'm hurting. 3 pumps of morphine later, I told this nurse, and I don't remember saying it, I said, hey, my ass is looser than a wizard sleeve. I'm great. And
what does that even mean?
And dude, you know wizard sleeve, they're loose.
Yeah,
you know?
but like what? Like where did you come up with that?
I don't know. I was high on morphine.
This is the best podcast ever already.
So they popped me back in, and I threw up an hour later on the road. Like once they just popped me back in, I woke up and I went, all right, let's go back to Austin.
Yeah.
So I throw up because they pumped me full of morphine. I threw up green to get it all out of my system. Then I ate Burger King.
Okay.
Felt good.
Wish it would have been Whataburger though.
I wish, dude. I love Whataburger.
Burger King kind of.
Burger King sucks.
Yeah.
Let's just get it out there.
It's
Burgers
not
are
good.
dry. Fuck them. You know.
I just want you to keep burying people in places. That's
Dude,
all I want.
let's do it,
Fuck
dude.
them. Fuck them.
Fuck them. So so the next morning is when I came to realize I was like, okay, what do I do with this booking? And I was like, I don't want to tell Ethan Page I can't make it because I got hurt, because I asked him if I can be on, and you know he's taking a chance because I think prior to that, the Rascals got in a car accident. and they couldn't make it to the show.
I remember that.
And I was going to be on. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm getting my shows mixed up. That was in July of 2018. This was February 18 when I had a scramble match.
Okay.
So, a week later went by, and I was like, man, my arm's so swollen, it hurts. And then I went to the doctor, and I was like, my arm's still swollen. They're like, well, they gave you the wrong size arm sling. So I took that off, and they went, you can walk around with it. It's going to hurt, but just walk around without a sling. So it started to go down tremendously. All the swelling went away, all the fluid went away, and I was like, I'm just going to wrap it up and wrestle. So I flew to Toronto, wrestled on a freshly dislocated arm. I had wrestled twice that weekend for super kicked and A1.
Oh my God.
I'm not missing this fucking show.
Yeah.
That's where the dumb and hard-headedness comes in.
Sure.
But then it got me a full-time booking with A1, so I was just like,
Yeah.
it worked out, you know?
Did you tell anybody that you were working with that, like, yo,
Didn't tell nobody.
holy
No.
fuck?
I'm not trying to be like a hard ass and be like, hey, brother, I broke this elbow a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago,
but
you know?
I'm not even like in a hard ass situation. I feel like I would have walked into it like, hey, I think my arm is still dislocated, so I want to do stuff, but can
Yeah.
we work around this? You didn't say anything.
I didn't
like
say
that.
nothing.
That's fucking crazy.
I'm dumb.
You're not, maybe kind of to the outside person, but like just as a performer
Yeah.
and someone that has taken risk on himself for his career.
Yeah.
I find it courageous that like you did that. You just you took a risk on yourself.
It was just like I was just like I was just like I want to get myself to Toronto for this opportunity because A1 was one of the top promotions. I love that place.
Yeah.
And like something was telling me in my gut that I was like that just said don't miss this stuff.
Yeah.
Don't miss it because I did that scramble match and it was so fun. And then Ethan Page came up to me and said I did a really good job. And then I roomed with like Eddie Kingston and Abyss that night, which was
That's amazing.
wild.
Yeah.
Abyss spilled a beer on me that night. He went, God fucking damn it. And then I was excited because he spilled a beer on me.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, oh, this is all worth it. Fuck the arm. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's fine now. Like, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's still like, it doesn't extend all the way, but I'm fine. That's the price to pay.
No
for
pain,
shit.
though, right?
No pain. No
Okay.
nothing.
Wow, man, that's crazy. But well, I'm glad you did that because I feel like that's where our friendship really blossomed. Was
Where
Alpha
we came,
One.
man. We had a tremendous car ride that
Yeah.
cemented our friendship.
We really did. We really did. Yeah, you got to look for the right kind of gas station.
the
when you're
right
looking-
kind of a specific kind of gas
Right,
station,
right.
not
like-
those kind.
Yeah. And so like that's back when I drank energy drinks. I don't know if you know this. I stopped drinking energy drinks last June. So we're coming up on a year.
Wow!
and it's
Congratulations, by the way,
dude. It's the best thing I've ever done.
I'm a slave to the energy drinks, to caffeine.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this. How are your poops?
My poops, they're fine, surprisingly. Like,
No.
What do you mean?
think they're fine?
okay, tell me what's up.
Because I was pooping, and this may be a little TMI for this
Yeah, go
podcast,
ahead.
but fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah, but fuck them.
But fuck them. I was pooping a lot of liquid
Okay.
on a regular basis.
Really?
And I thought that, again, I've been drinking energy drinks basically since I started wrestling. So, once I
Yeah.
stopped, like 14 years basically. And I just thought that was how I pooped. Like just
You
liquid.
thought you just had the liquid poop diet.
just like
pretty
liquid
much.
all the
Yeah.
time. And so then I took the step to like try to stop energy drinks because I just didn't want to put those chemicals in my body all the time. And anytime I tried to stop, it'd go like a day and I'd have a headache. So I'm like, I guess I need caffeine. So I tried to do green tea and ginger.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that helped stop the headaches. And so then I just got off the shit. But as far as my actual shits, they became normal poops,
Yeah.
like solid. And I remember like the first time the poop's coming out, I'm like, oh, this feels weird. Like it kind of hurts. But then like I realized, no, this is a normal poop. All you've been pooping is liquid for over a decade.
Oh my god! Can you imagine how like tight your ass must have been?
Yeah. So literally, and also I would constantly have a stomach ache.
Oh
And so
man.
I realized I just thought that was normal. So now no stomach problems, normal poops, and like I don't get headaches because I don't drink a lot of caffeine, but like pop sometimes or whatever. But I feel so much better.
Now, do you drink coffee or anything?
No, I've never
No
been a coffee guy.
okay.
Nope.
So and you haven't had any energy drinks in over a year?
Going on a year. I think June 23rd will be 1 year.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So now think about your poops. Do you think your poops are normal?
So I don't have liquid poops.
Okay.
I have pretty solid poops.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing.
Sometimes they're a little cakey, but that's just how the diet is. That's just
Cakey
after
poops.
a cheat day, dude.
Let's we talk about poops here.
Yeah.
I want to segue into something you sort of touched on in the locker room earlier today.
Yeah.
You had a recent experience with a sleep boner that left you quite embarrassed.
Yeah, dude. Sleep boners. I really feel are kind of hurting men across America and the world.
On a serious note, we don't speak about the problem with road boners and street boners and
you say street boners or sleep boners?
Street boners, sleep boners. We don't talk about this pandemic of sorts that is sweeping the nation.
Yeah,
it's been doing so for a long time. So let's talk about it.
So I never just speaking of a 14-hour drive from St. Louis to San Antonio, it was my turn to sleep. I slept for 5 or 6 hours. I woke up with a boner, and I was like, these guys are going to think I'm a weirdo if they see this dick.
And it's not like you were in school at the desk, sleeping on your desk, and like when you get the boner, you could pick up your book bag and hold it in place.
You weren't under the net.
Yeah. It's an inconvenient time.
And I wear short shorts. Like that's my attire. I wear short shorts.
Same.
But I buy the built-in underwear, so my dick doesn't fall out.
Sure.
But it's there. You can tell something's there.
It's on the verge of creeping out.
And it's quite embarrassing. I don't know what to do with this male pandemic.
Sure.
But we got to do something about it.
Well, when you Google boners, a lot of people, especially sleep boners, science doesn't understand them. Doctors don't know what to do about them. And I'm not just saying this to be funny. They really can't explain sleep boners.
It is weird, though, because you're not thinking about anything sexual or anything like that. Like, you just wake up with a boner.
Yeah.
You just got a boner, and then you're just like, what do I do? Do I jerk off right now? Do I got to get rid of it? Or
It's a very serious concern. Like, you're sitting there troubled.
Yeah.
Do I jerk off now or not?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You got 6 guys in the car. You don't know if they're cool with it. You don't know if it's going to be a guy thing.
You all want to get on this? Maybe just we all
you try to be quiet, rub it against your thigh. It just don't work. You know what I mean?
Oh God! Did I mention this is the best podcast ever?
Yeah.
So dumb. Now you talk about short shorts, but the current trend with you've sort of reinvented yourself. Through the pandemic. Before we talk about though, I guess you had those 2 injuries back to back. Did you ever get back in the ring before the pandemic started?
I did actually. So it was so January the concussion, February of 2020 was the leg thing, was the blown out knee. March was my last match before everything shut down. It was March 3rd, and the depression was still kicking into my head. That's a major concussion. 8 weeks later, still serious, So. And I was just like, and my wife, she made me a pair of gear that I wear now. And then I was just like, I want to change something. I feel stagnant. I feel like confidently, I felt like I had the in-ring part down.
For sure, 100%. Because we talked about it earlier, and I'm going to talk about it more because I can't sing your praises enough. I feel like you're the most underrated young dude in professional wrestling right now, and
thanks.
people are sleeping on you, and I don't feel people are not acknowledging you enough in the hard work that you do and the innovative stuff you do.
Well, thanks, man.
I just want to throw that out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I was just like, I want to do something different. And for years, like Albert, ACH used to tell me, you make us laugh and you say crazy shit in the back. Just start saying that out in public and in your promos and start wearing the crazy stuff that you wear out with us and wear it in your ring. And I was like, I don't know if people would get it or like it. So I really started doing that. So my last match for the pandemic was Hakeem Zayn or Rohit Raju in Impact.
How good is he?
I love Rohit. Now that's another underrated fucking guy.
Dude,
love him.
Literally, we had to go to the ring for Alpha 1 once, and we didn't call next to anything. And I'm not, truthfully, I'm not very good at calling stuff in the ring. I have go-to stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if I could call a match for someone without knowing their shit. And he made me feel the most comfortable in that scenario that I've ever felt in 15 years of wrestling.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He's one of the top. He should be everywhere as well.
Yeah.
For real. We'll just have a podcast on Rohit one day.
For sure.
And then so I felt so unconfident in that match. I was like, I'm fucking nobody. I'm just a fucking blank in wrestling, And I pulled my gear on that my wife made me, the new gear, the last year, and I was like, I took it off. I went, no, I feel uncomfortable. I felt like I was fighting, changing myself.
Yeah.
And I wore my regular like black gear and stuff. So my music hit. I walked out. This is the moment that I said I knew I had to change. No one clapped for me. No one said it was dead quiet. Some guy popped up. He went, nope, and just sat right back down. I went, God damn.
And that's brutal.
Dude, it was so brutal. It hurt me. And then I was like, fuck, I suck. So I go in the ring. I was supposed to be, the good guy, the face. Hakeem's supposed to be the heel. Hakeem comes out. They're fucking cheering for him. They're fucking, praising him as they should. Everything. It's my time for the comeback, and they're just booing me. It's bump, fuck you, boom, boo, you ain't shit. It's just all stuff like that. So after that happened, the world shut down, and I went I had a show for Mania weekend, and I was so, just had so much anxiety about stuff. When Mania weekend got shut down, in my head, I was like, thank God, I don't have to wrestle as myself right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to work on this gimmick, do funny promos, and say, fuck it. I don't care what people think. I'm just going to do it. So then, me and my wife were sitting around. We're just like, flamingos are fucking white trash and redneck and stuff. And I was like, my mom had a bunch of them in the backyard one time,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just call myself the Southern Flamingo. We'll see that go. And I wanted to call myself White Trash Wonderful, but I was just like, I don't know if that would work. You know?
Yeah.
So, and I like wearing bright colors and being just gaudy and all that bullshit. So, around the midsummer, I was like, okay, we're just going to go full force. We had this crazy jacket that we sewed up and made together. The inspiration came from, have you ever seen, it's a movie with Matthew McConaughey. He went by the name Moondog in that movie. I think it's called The Beach Bum.
I don't think I've seen it.
So Zac Efron's in it.
Okay.
He plays this crazy holy roller, and he has this beautiful crust punk jacket made. So I took the idea from that and made my own.
Okay.
And I was like, we're just going to do that. And then, I've only I only had a few shows last year towards the tail end, so I still feel like I really haven't been able to do the full gimmick fully in matches and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been just cutting promos for promotions and just saying crazy shit, and just doing a lot of redneck shit that I do in real life. You know what I mean? I like ketchup on steak, and I fucking,
Yes.
if I got a sickness, you know what I mean? Like coconut cookies and pork rinds fix me right up, and they're fucking good,
Yes. Yeah. I love everything you've been doing on social media. I remember when you were going through that fucking dry spell and that depression, you were messaging me about changing, and I'm so glad you made that leap, because I feel like it's for the better, because every time I see something posted by you on social media, I try to share it.
Yeah.
Because I believe in you, and I just love the gimmick. So for someone that doesn't know all the redneck shit you do, you just talked about a couple things. What can they see out of this character from the vignettes you've been doing online?
What do you mean? Just what can they see from this character?
Yeah, what have you been doing besides the ketchup?
Besides the ketchup, man, I've been cutting promos inside of a Winnebago. People think I've purchased a Winnebago, which I have. $1,400. I used Biden's check, thanks Daddy Biden, and I used that check to buy a Winnebago.
Yeah.
I cut promos in it. They know I'm traveling. I can travel. You don't need a hotel to pay me in. Just give me that extra $80 from the fucking, Motel 8. Give it to me.
Yep.
Because that'll be gas money for the Winnebago.
Love it.
I have, all my friends that live in Oklahoma, they're white trash as shit, and I use their four-wheelers and their pastures for everything. So that's what they can expect. You know what I mean? The more things open, the more full throttle and crazier I'm going to get with this shit.
Yeah. I just saw your promo, your I'm a Hit promo.
Yes.
Talk about that?
Yeah. So that idea, I would spray paint and write the word shit on there. I would say, this is your promotion without Kody Lane.
Yep.
And I would draw two lines in that S and make a $sign. Draw a line under HIT, and I'll say, if you book me, I'm going to turn your show from a shit to a hit.
Oh, yeah.
And there for a while, I believe it. I feel like I can bring something different to everything. You know what I mean?
You really do.
Yeah.
I can't praise you enough. Actually, you just came out with a T-shirt of that, correct?
Yes, it's called I'm a Hit. And if you want to be a hit, like me, go to Teesprings-Cody-Lane, and you can pick one up right there, $20.
Hell yeah.
So you can be just like me. I got other shirts and socks, all that crazy shit.
I think more people should be like you, quite frankly. But especially with your style, you kind of alluded to, one thing we were talking about in the back before we started recording here was the rompers. I think the rompers is a big part of the attire now.
Yes.
It takes a real man. I mean, short shorts is one thing, and I feel like a lot of dudes can do short shorts.
Yeah.
A lot of dudes do short shorts. Do short shorts. You don't want to do in them. But the romper,
Yes.
and that's another level.
Dude, rompers, the only bad thing about a romper is I love them. They're comfortable and everything. I praise them. When you have to poop, you got to get completely naked, which is fine. I like to move around when I poop. I don't need constriction when I poop.
I like how we've come back to poop.
Yeah, so we always go back to poop, you know. As a kid, I used to poop naked.
Really?
As a teenager.
You said as a kid, and then
Well-
it quickly evolved. And then it got teacher. Before the romper,
When I was 21, I used to poop naked. Yeah,
Why?
dude. I don't know, because when I was a fat kid, I was blown out as a kid. I was a big kid.
blown out.
Blown out, like just blown out.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
belly's
yeah.
big. And then I was just like, I'm uncomfortable in t-shirts because I was always just insecure. So I was like, when I poop, I have to get naked. So even when I dropped a bunch of weight, I was like, I still gotta get naked.
So like when you were in school,
I
you
get
got
fully
to-
naked.
You get naked
Yeah, I get
in
fully
the
naked.
stall.
Yeah, I get fully naked in the stall.
Did anyone ever find out about that, or did you tell people? I feel like you would just tell people and not care.
I'll tell people now. Like back then, when you're in high school, you care what everyone thinks.
Yeah.
But now, like when I go back home, I used to poop naked.
And by the way, I still do.
I still do.
Oh, my
And
God.
when I'm at home, I get fully naked. I leave the door open. My wife comes and sits on my lap. So that's what we do.
Jesus Christ.
We're wild.
You know what? The last time we had this conversation a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a great conversation. And if you haven't listened to it, go back in the archives and check it out. But I feel like just from then to now, I just feel you're more comfortable in talking.
I am, dude.
You know what I'm
Even
saying?
when we had that interview last year,
Yeah.
in January, I felt so uncomfortable, not because of you or anything, just within myself.
You're still finding yourself.
Yeah, I'm still finding myself to this day. I'm still trying to figure shit out, you
Yeah.
know. But even then, I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
So when we had that podcast, I was like, cool. We can talk about, how I started and stuff like that. But beyond that, if you ever was like, hey, what's your character or what's this and that, I couldn't tell you fucking two things.
Yeah.
Like I'm just another white asshole in a pair of shorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still a white asshole, but you know what I mean?
For sure. But there's the charisma that we know that you have behind the scenes is now pouring out beyond the curtain.
Right.
And I'm happy about that. One story I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer we're going to go here. I mean, whatever. But I'm loving this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to do
Yeah.
this. But like one of my favorite stories is when we went to eat after maybe an ESW show, or was it? It was in Chicago because it was at
Okay.
the Golden Nugget.
I love Golden Nugget. Shout out.
Golden Nugget is great, and that's one of the things I've been missing about the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Is fucking going to the Golden Nugget because it's a great place to eat in Chicago. But the one night, you offered to pay for everybody's food,
Okay.
and I found that very strange. Do you remember why you offered to pay for everybody's
I
food?
don't remember. You have to tell me.
Well, I'm going to say 3 words, and then you could tell the story.
Okay.
Credit, card, fraud. Does that refresh the memory a little bit? What? Really?
What? So hold on. I used to steal a lot of shit, but I hold on. Credit card fraud. What the fuck? Hold on.
You said you had been on a regular basis. Your exact verbiage.
Oh,
was-
dude, I know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what I used to do, guys. So this is when I was so young. I paid back my credit, as far as y'all know. So.
Yeah, no.
So I would buy a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And then I would call my car company. I'm like, yo, my car got stolen.
Oh no.
Yo, dinner's on me.
Right.
know?
But like they've never caught on to that?
They never caught on to it. But I did for real pay all that stuff off.
Okay,
like,
good.
I remember one time, like, it was during WrestleMania weekend in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I did I spent a bunch of money and stuff
Sure.
like that, and I couldn't afford it. And I was like, hey, I was in New Jersey and my fucking car got stolen. They're like, did you buy all this? I went, nope.
I never thought about that. And I remember your rationale when we were in Chicago was like, dinner's on me, guys. I don't give a fuck. I'll report my car to the store. I was like, wait, can you do that? And you were like, well, dude, I don't live in Chicago, so I'll just say someone stole my car and took the car
No.
to Chicago. And I was like, fuck, I never thought about that.
If you guys don't really think this gimmick's real, a real white trash, I'm a real I trash redneck motherfucker.
Not only that, like you're a cheapskate, which I also appreciate because I haven't seen him in a minute. I think we needed to mention Shane Sabre. We've always talked about doing this Thrifty Boys gimmick.
Yo, free Shane Sabre.
I know you love Shane. Have you been in contact with him? Have you been staying in touch?
Oh, I keep up with him quite often, man.
Yeah.
I keep up. We talk to each other once or twice a week.
How is he?
He's good, man. He's ready for fucking, Canada to open up. Like I feel like they're still, 4 steps behind. Like it's great everything's opening back up and people are getting vaccinated and like, here in the States, you can go get vaccinated anywhere.
Yep.
But he was telling me you have to get the first shot and 4 months later you have to get the second one.
Why?
I don't know because I guess there's like a waiting line or something like that.
That's crazy.
And I was like, dude, Shane, just do what we always do, lie and get ahead.
Dude, like
Or,
literally, like I don't know if we've talked about some of the Thrifty Boy shit, but I remember him cracking me up when he was just like, because I would always drive by hotels with Ricky Shane Page. This is how me and Shane became friends. I drive by hotels with Ricky Shane Page. I'm like, let's just go in that hotel this morning and just grab some breakfast. He's like, no, you have to be checked in there. I'm like, are they going to ask if I just walk in and get breakfast if I'm checked in? Like, how would they know? Just because I'm walking in without bags doesn't mean my bags aren't up in my room.
Yeah.
Right? And so I remember telling that to Shane. He's like, I do that all the time. And I started dying laughing. I was like, wait, what? You really do that? And he's like, yeah. So, like, he's a notorious cheapskate, but...
he is a notorious cheapskate.
So, the lying part. So, you've been vaccinated, right?
I sure have, yep.
Okay. Did you experience any problems with that first or second shot?
My first shot, I had a sore arm for a day, and I was totally fine the next day. That second shot fucked me up.
Really?
I had it was so weird. So I got it like a 4 p.m. on a Thursday. By 10 or 11, I was sick as a dog. Slept all night. I woke up, and like, when you have the flu, you feel like you're like 500 pounds. You can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I can't get out of bed. I just feel like shit. 2 p.m. rolled around, back to normal, full of energy. 8 p.m., felt like shit again, slept all night, was fine.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, so, you mentioned how you lie to get this vaccination. My experience, I didn't know this. I was vaccinated back in March before a lot of people because a nurse told me, a nurse friend of mine said, if you have cerebral palsy, you're like ahead on the list to get vaccinated. I was like,
really?
Yeah, I had no idea because, obviously I have cerebral palsy, but I don't think about it like it's like debilitating to me or whatever. So, sure enough, I looked on this thing and it was like, you qualify if you have cerebral palsy on the first wave. So I got my 2 shots like in March and I was like good to go, right? But I bring this up because at no point when going to get my vaccination after I scheduled it, no one ever asked me if I had cerebral palsy. And mine's not that noticeable. Like they didn't do like an examination or say like, so it shows that it says here you have cerebral palsy, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that never happened. So my point here is if you're in Canada, I don't know how the system works, but maybe if you say you have cerebral palsy, Shane Sabre, maybe you can get vaccinated right now.
Shane, if you're hearing this, I know you have no morals. You got the morals of a alley cat. We don't
want to talk about alley cat.
No. We'll say a